Hi, everybody. Jake Perez here again, streaming live right here on Facebook with Onward, my new show dedicated to helping ordinary people live extraordinary lives. You can catch me right here live every Tuesday night, 7 p.m. Central, as I speak to some of the world's most interesting people on a variety of topics, all dedicated to helping you change your life forever. My guest tonight is a former Major League Baseball player turned Reiki master, healer, and paradigm coach. He has dedicated his life to helping people heal both physically and emotionally. I am super excited to welcome my guest tonight, Gary Kerschke. Gary, welcome to the show, man.
Hey, thank you for having me. I
Uh,
want a quick
yeah.
correction. Never made it to major leagues. It was
Oh,
minor leagues.
okay. All right.
Yeah.
But you threw the rock, huh? You were a pitcher at one point in time.
Yes, sir. That
What was your
was.
what, what
Yeah,
was
that
your
was. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead, man.
Yeah, that was a long time ago, but I had fun. That was a passion of mine,
Yeah,
and I love being on the mound. I miss it. So
I hear you. Well, I didn't definitely didn't get as far as you, but I was on the hill when I was a kid a good bit. I love baseball and whatnot, so I share that passion early in my life. But I wanted to bring you on tonight, and we kind of been jamming online a little bit together, hanging out in some of the same spots, and I've found out that you're a Reiki master, right? And you've kind of dedicated yourself to helping people change their lives, right, through emotional healing, physical healings, a variety of things like that. I mean, to me, aspiring to be a professional baseball player and the things that come along with being an athlete. I grew up, a million years ago playing sports myself, and there comes a certain, ego that goes along with, being an athlete, right? I mean, whether you're talking about football or baseball or whatever it might be. Um, you're definitely in a different place, and I'm kind of getting a different place in my life right now where I realize that the ego is not maybe what it's cracked up to be, and it might be a big hindrance in our life, right? I mean, you want to share a little bit of your journey, how you went from being a baseball player with I'm sure, as most athletes are, lots of ego and whatnot, to what you're doing now, where you've really dedicated your life to helping people and changing lives. You want to share a little bit of that story with us?
yeah, absolutely. Um, Definitely, the ego really came into play when I was playing, um, because I was always playing hurt or injured. And
Mm-hmm.
it was just my ego because I was in fear, like if I didn't play or this and that I would lose my starting position in the rotation, someone's going to take over, or I wasn't going to succeed. um, so how I got injured, definitely my ego had a big factor in that because the day of the game I didn't warm up properly. I thought I was good, and it really wasn't. I went to that game, just my mechanics were off, everything was off, I was overthrowing, it was a mess. I didn't feel it when it happened, but I was losing control. I was
Mm-hmm.
losing velocity. I was getting a little bit of pain, but I kept going.
Mm-hmm.
But at the time, it was like the fourth inning out of a 9 inning game, and first time ever in my life, my baseball career, that I took myself out of the game.
Huh.
Something wasn't right, and my arm was getting tight, and it was very weird. I never had this feeling before, and it was the first game of a doubleheader, and um, by the by the whole thing was up. I get up, I grab my bag, and I couldn't move my arm. I couldn't lift my bag. I was like, crap, something's wrong here.
Mm-hmm.
And go back to my room, take a shower, and I go lay down on my bed, and my shoulder. I lay down on my right side, and my shoulder popped out of socket, and right then I knew, I'm like, something serious is going on here.
Dang.
Yeah, sure enough, torn labrum, and it was just something I couldn't come back from, and I had to hang
Wow.
it up. And that
Wow.
was my decision. It was like everything that I've worked for, just done.
Yeah.
All my goals, dreams of stepping on a major league mound were done. And I was 22 years old, and it was very devastating for me.
Dang.
I went into a huge depression. Um, I started drinking a lot, partying a lot, And for a few years, because I was mad at myself. I was um, I was very mad at myself, and I didn't know
Mhm.
what else to do with my life because I didn't have a fallback plan. Like all my
Mhm.
eggs were in that basket, so I didn't have any like job skills. I didn't have a resume really, so it was just what do I do? What am I
Mhm.
supposed to do here? Like it's so it took me quite a while. It took me like over 10 years longer to start my self healing journey, and it's the greatest gift that I've ever given myself because I've stayed single for 3 years. I've healed myself from past relationships, childhood traumas, teenagehood traumas, um, school, being bullied in school, all those traumas. So I've really taken time to focus on me and change my life. And now I'm here helping people do the same because I didn't have a mentor or coach, someone helping me along the way. I did it all on my own through reading books, YouTube, because I mean, you can find anything on YouTube, self development,
Mhm.
spirituality, meditation, any type of
Mhm.
spiritual practice you want to learn. And I call it YouTube University because I mean, you can learn anything you want from there. And that's what I've spent all my days doing, really. Oh,
I love it. How long ago would you say you realized there was a problem? I mean, at some point, I mean, clearly when you're 22 years old and you've got aspirations of making your career with baseball, right, on the hill, living the dream, right? I mean, every kid, every who grows up playing sports, I mean, they've got a similar dream, and you're knocking on that door, right? I mean, and all of a sudden, one terrible evening, something goes wrong and it ends it, right? I mean, it's something you work for your whole life and it's just gone. I can only imagine how devastating that had to be. And you said you kind of turn to a lot of things that people turn to, right? When things go bad, right, we turn to drugs, alcohol, sex, partying, whatever it might be, right, to kind
absolutely.
of heal that void. That what did
No
you
pain.
what did you you know how long were you living like that before you realized something had to change?
Um, like the hardcore drug and alcohol abuse was probably for 2 years. Then I had my daughter when I was 24, so that really changed my life. They got me, more grounded. Um, really started focusing on her, or hanging out with the people that I was hanging out with before. And I was a family man then. I was with a woman, my daughter's mom, and so I couldn't hang out with the same people. I couldn't, sleep around, do whatever I was doing, using drugs and alcohol all the time. That was just
Hmm.
something that I had to stop for my daughter.
Hmm.
So
Gotcha.
she was a blessing. I mean, she came into my life at the right time. So,
Yeah,
um,
no doubt about it, man. I have three daughters myself, and I know they've been a tremendous blessing in my life, and kind of changed, helped me change some things early on in my journey as well. So when you started, I mean, did you struggle with alcohol and that type of thing? You struggled with that for a good while, or what?
yeah, yeah, and all through high school, and I didn't touch alcohol, no drugs, but it was just um, playing baseball. You get to that age, you could go out and have a few, you can drink at that age. So,
Right.
but I mean, I really didn't get into alcohol, even though
Hmm.
my dad, my brother, like my family, they have alcoholic issues.
Yeah.
It was never for me. I never had an addictive personality. I never got hooked on drugs. It
Hmm.
was just numbing the pain. Um, because I was hurting, I was devastated. So I used that stuff to make me feel better. Um, but my life was just going downhill with all that stuff, hanging around with the wrong people. Because who
Hmm.
you hang around with and the activities you partake creates your reality. And nothing good was coming from it. Nothing
Yep.
good.
100%. Right. I mean, I say a lot, and I very much believe we're an average of the five people we spend the most time with, right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And just good, bad, or ugly, we're going to be like those people that we're hanging around, right? And so you're kind of in a bad place, and it sounds like to me, and some things that I kind of want to get into a little bit later, but it sounds like you're kind of vibing with some negative energy in your 20s, right?
Absolutely.
And so that's, I mean, so, kind of a big focus we want to talk about tonight is Reiki, and I want to get into a little bit about meditation and a little bit about the quantum field. And so, tell me a little bit more about how you got into Reiki, or actually, let's jump forward to Reiki and then we'll come back a little bit. Can you tell
Sure.
us a little bit? Because I know I have a lot of different listeners here, a lot of viewers who have a lot of different backgrounds, and some people may have heard of Reiki, some people may have never heard of it before. I'm kind of learning about it a lot myself right now. Can you just give us kind of in a nutshell what it is and how it helps people?
Yeah, Reiki. The form of Reiki that I do is from it was Japanese based. It's Ushui
Mm-hmm.
Reiki, and
Mm-hmm.
it was created by Sensei Mikao Usui back in the early 1900s. He was looking for a way to heal people, and he was going Christian schools, all the different types of religious leaders, monks. I mean, he was all over the place trying to find a way to heal people, and so he did a 21-day fast in the mountains. And at the end of the fast, he saw this divine light in the sky, and it was like his attunement to the energy, to the Reiki energy.
Mm-hmm.
So so he originated Ushui Reiki, and from things have been added on since his passing in 1926. Um, we use symbols. There's hand placements, all different types of it. And Reiki is it's universal consciousness energy from the universe, from the higher realms of the universe. You can call it heaven. It's from God, from the angels. So it's a pure love and light energy. And me as a Reiki master teacher, I'm a complete open channel to the Reiki energy. So I channel it through me, and it goes into my recipients.
Got it. Okay, cool. So it's like a benevolent, avenue, kind of comes from God. That's just, so the first time I started, a lot of people run around talking about good vibes, right? You see T-shirts with people talking about good vibes and whatnot. But I actually, read a book not too long ago by Penny Pierce called Frequency,
Hmm.
and she's just, talking about vibrations and frequencies, and how kind of the law of attraction thing, right, where we attract wherever our vibration is, we attract things from that vibration, right, or from that vibrational field.
Yeah.
Um so so um I think what you're talking about, like this, I've kind of looked into this a little bit, but this goes back to Japan about 100 years ago or so. um and so, just kind of an interesting thing. I'm a history guy. I taught history for a bunch of years, so I always kind of look at the history side behind things. One thing I read is that Japan believes so much in this practice that they actually used Reiki in the war, in World War II, as a form of first aid. Right? I mean,
Yeah.
that I found that kind of fascinating, right? And so, I've been asking the question this afternoon on Facebook whether people thought, emotional healing or physical healing was more important, and a lot of people understand the connection between your emotions and your physical health. So now that we understand a little bit more about what Reiki is, it's kind of tying into that good energy. Um, Tell me a little bit more about what it actually does, and how it actually helps people.
Yeah. Absolutely. Um, it what it does it helps your body heal itself. Reiki itself doesn't heal. It's not the cure all, but it's a great tool to use to um, release emotional blockages, traumas in the body, physical traumas, depression, anxiety. It has um, it's tons of research on this, medical research. It has improved people's anxiety, depression. It has helped shrink cancer cells, take away pain. And for example, I have a new client. She has fibromyalgia, and my first session with her was not this Saturday, but the one before that. Um, so we did an ancient Hawaiian prayer called Ho'oponopono to release a lot of emotional traumas. and then I did my Reiki session on her. After this session, she told me she felt no more pain.
Huh.
And this, a week later, a week and a half later, she sent me a text message yesterday, um, saying that she's still pain free.
Wow.
Fibromyalgia is very painful,
Mm-hmm.
and it makes people bedridden. And she's like, "It's raining here, and usually with the barometric pressure, I'm in bed in agony and I can't move. I'm
Hmm.
dying. I have no pain." And I'm
Wow.
like, "Yeah." I'm like, I'm touched by that. I love hearing feedback from my clients on how much Reiki has helped them.
That's
It's powerful for me.
right.
Like
Uh,
I get chilled talking about it. It's like wow.
It's so
And
super cool. So I gotta
yeah,
I gotta give you a follow-up question. You talked about this, and I'm gonna mispronounce it. Ho'oponopono. Can you say that again?
Ho'oponopono.
Ho'oponopono.
Yeah,
My girlfriend talks to me about that all the time, or she mentions it all the time. So I guess I figure I had to bring that up, right? Um,
yeah.
Ho'oponopono.
Ho'oponopono. I'll
Pono.
send you
Pono. Pono.
I'll send you a message so you can
Okay, cool. All
let
right.
me know how it is.
So okay, so you do this prayer, right? I mean, it was kind of simple, kind of basic, and then you perform like a Reiki session. Was it
Mhm.
just one session that this lady got relief from?
That all we had was one session so far, and she signed up for weekly sessions because there's other things that she needs help with emotionally, mentally, spiritually.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but Ho'oponopono is an ancient Hawaiian prayer. It's been around thousands of years, and it was used for people. It's a forgiveness. It's a forgiveness thing. But it's
Mm,
also a release technique that releases emotional pain and traumas from the body. It's forgiving. It's basically it was developed for forgiving the other person for what they did to you. But
mm,
now it's been more of a self forgiveness type prayer because there's a lot of things in our lives that we're
mm,
ourselves for, and we self pity. We're mad at ourselves, resentments, guilty, all this type of stuff, whatever the case may be, for why we're so hard on ourselves, and that creates a lot
mm-hmm.
of emotional blockages in us.
Sure.
Feeling unworthy, undeserving. Um, but it helps get to the root causes of these traumas, and it's very powerful. Like she was crying, she just had like a huge emotional purge, and it made me emotional because I felt it. I mean, I understood where she was coming from, and just
Mm-hmm.
to release all that, I mean, she was so much lighter, so much at peace, and it was it unblocked her energetically. And I
Hmm.
do that with all of my clients because they all have some type of emotional trauma. Um, so it helps get those blockages out of there so the Reiki energy can flow through more effectively.
Gotcha.
So it's
Okay.
very, very powerful. And once I determined that, I was like, holy cow, I'm going to start using this every single session because there's
Mm-hmm.
Ho'oponopono meditations on YouTube, and they're very powerful. You can use those as well, but I'm also getting certified as a Ho'oponopono practitioner. I'm taking the course in a few weeks, so I'm
Super
going to get
cool.
certified as a practitioner. Yeah.
Yeah, I love it. Let me just kind of back up a little bit and jump on the same train of thought. We've discussed Dr. Dispenza's work a little bit, and you kind of told me you've learned a lot from Joe Dispenza. Is that correct?
Yes, absolutely. Um,
So he and have you read his new book, Becoming Supernatural?
I do have it. I have the PDF in my phone, and I have it
Gotcha.
on my computer. I also have the audio to it as well.
Gotcha. So I'm reading through that one right now. I'm actually in actually chapter 5 right now. I guess it's chapter, I don't know, early on 1 or 2, where he gives an example of one of his patients or clients he's working with, and this woman just had a terrible emotional trauma. I think that's your fur babies in the background. I guess you got a bunch of a few dogs. I heard you rescue dogs or something like that. 7.
Seven. They're going
7.
a little crazy right now, so it just guys, they all want to play.
It's
Yeah, I got
playtime,
seven
man.
dogs. Yeah, they're all rescues. Um, yeah, yeah, they're my babies. Oh, and Not only do I help heal people, but I help heal animals.
There you go. I love it, man. I love it. That life energy it expands more than just people, huh?
Yes. Yes, Reiki you can use on anything.
I've heard that. I've been studying, reading up about it, and I've heard of people using it on their animals as well.
Yeah.
So just jumping right back to what I was saying here, this example in Dr. Dispenza's book, there's this woman, her husband dies tragically, um, and she ends up with a tremendous amount of terrible physical ailments, um, and there was nothing else that uh, worked, right? She tried all kinds of different things, and all of a sudden, she gets into meditation and following kind of what Dispenza's teaching, radically just heals her whole life, right? So, I mean, that's the kind of thing you're doing with people, right? The type of services you're offering to people.
Yes, absolutely. Because emotional state affects the physical state. Um, those traumas that go unreleased, unhealed, become physical manifestations in the body. Depression, cancer, all types of chronic illnesses, immune deficiency disorders, everything. It's all connected. So once we get down to the root causes of these issues, we can release it and heal it, and everything else will heal it, on its own. So
I love it, man. Yeah, I think I'm sure you know this, and but I think we're doing it wrong, right? In America with Western medicine, we're maxed out, stressed, and everyone's they're stressed at their job, and they've got financial problems and relationship problems, and it manifests in all kinds of crazy things, right? All kinds of different disorders, and what Western medicine wants to do is just throw pills at it, right? And just kind of
yeah,
put a big Band-Aid on it and keep people on pills for the rest of their life instead of addressing the real issues.
yeah. Oh, you have depression? Here's a pill. You have anxiety? Here's a pill. Oh, you have a headache? Here's a pill. You have back pain? Here's a pill. And it is. I mean, it just shut off who we are as divine beings. Um,
Absolutely.
is pharmaceutical? Ever since the pharmaceutical industry came about, it's really shut off people's spirituality. We were
Mm-hmm.
completely disconnected to our source and to our
Mm-hmm.
body,
Right.
because you know where all these problems stem from. The doctors don't know how to get to the root causes of them, so they treat the symptoms.
Mm-hmm.
So people become customers for life on all these types of medications. Then eventually they have to run on medication because of another issue.
Mm-hmm.
It's all connected, and they're not healing the people. So these situations get worse inside of them. So people are dying 40, 50, 60, 70 years old, obese, all just different types of health issues. But the pharmaceutical companies just wants to throw a pill down their throat
Mm-hmm.
because they don't make money on curing people.
Sure. Yeah.
This is the big
There's no money. There's no money in dead people, and there's no money in healthy people, right?
Yep.
They got to
Yeah,
keep people right in the middle.
yeah. Doctors, yes, they're good,
Mm-hmm.
but they're really not helping much because they're the
Mm-hmm.
ones subscribing these pills.
Right.
They're the ones keeping their patients sick, and
Mm-hmm.
they make huge amounts of profits off of the pharmaceutical
Sure.
companies.
Mm-hmm.
They get a commission, they get bonuses for shoving these pills down people's throats.
Right. So
So
look, here's the thing is I think I think a lot of people who are watching tonight who are going to watch the replay. By the way, if you happen to be watching here live tonight, hit me with the hashtag live in the comments so we can know you're live. And if you catch us on the replay, hit me a hashtag replay if you catch us on the replay. If you got any questions, I'm looking at the live feed right now. So let just drop some questions in. I'll be happy to answer any questions you might have. But so we're talking a little bit about the medical industry and how it's really not the answer. But what I do want to do tonight is talk a little bit more about what the answer actually is. And so, Gary, I remember a couple of days back you posted 10 items to live by or something like that. And it was a tremendous list that you posted. But the first thing on the list you said was love is the answer. You remember that post from a couple of days back?
Yeah,
Tell me a little bit more, as we shift from talking a little bit about what the problem is, because whether people identify it or not, they know there are lots of problems out there. So I want to talk a little bit more about what the answer is, right? And you already said in that post that love is really the answer. Tell me a little bit more about that.
well, love, we're made of love, and love, people have different views on love.
Mm-hmm.
um, Love is pure light and energy that's in us. it's a
Mm-hmm.
divine it's a divine state of being. Once you're in, complete unconditional love state of mind for everything, yourself, for people, there is no room for hate. There's no room for anger or depression. It's just like, it's the all time divine state of being that I'm trying to get to. Being a human being, we have different emotions, we have different perspectives on things, and we get triggered by people and events. And what I'm starting to learn a lot about it is love, having unconditional love for everybody, because everybody has conditions on love.
Mm-hmm.
They get in, people have a condition on, they love someone because they're successful and they buy them things, and whatever the case may be of why they love someone. There's always some type of conditions that's attached to why they love a certain person or a thing. So, and that's taught throughout, our family. It's an ancestral
Mm-hmm.
thing.
Mm-hmm.
So,
So what you're
uh,
describing, what it sounds like to me, I mean, you're describing what a lot of people do is they think about love from kind of a selfish perspective, right? I mean, but
yeah,
that essentially is not love, right? That's probably more selfishness that we falsely call love, right? But
yeah,
I think calling unconditional love is kind of what you're talking about, is true love, right? Like a God kind of love. I mean, not getting overly religious, but the Bible does tell us that God is love, right? So if you want to know more about what God is, you just learn more about love and practice love more in your life and do for other people, right?
yeah. Love changes your whole perspective in reality, because you go from an angry, pissed off mindset, judgmental mindset. But when you get to a place where you just have love, you can hear them. They're going crazy.
Yeah, I hear him.
Hey, um, kids, I swear. Um, it just changes your whole demeanor and how you react and deal with people.
Yeah.
So, and that's, it's a huge enlightening feeling. And
Hmm.
it's just sad to see the world in such despair and separation and hatred because of someone's color, someone's choice in religion, their clothes that they wear, the house they live in, their car that they drive, or whatever the case may be.
Right.
Um, just people are just so judgmental and hateful towards other
Hmm.
people because they're
Hmm.
different.
Sure.
And
Yeah.
what they really don't understand is that we're all connected. We are all one. We come from the same divine source.
Right.
So what's the bullshit? I mean, come on
Hmm.
now.
Right. I think
I mean,
some of it, you'd probably agree with this. Some of it is people, um, people are kind of instead of loving themselves first, if you can't love yourself first, it's very difficult for you to love other people. Would you agree with that?
yes. People, yeah, oh yeah, absolutely. Because I mean, how can you love someone else if you don't have love for yourself? Because
Mm-hmm.
really don't understand love if you don't love yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, they just think they love someone because they make them feel good, because they do great things for them, or they make them happy.
Mm-hmm.
You Someone can't make you happy. You have to be happy with yourself
Right.
before all else.
Right.
Because if you're so dependent on outside sources of making you happy, how are you truly going to be happy?
Right.
Because our world is so screwed up on what people think happiness and love is.
Mm-hmm.
And it's based on their experiences, so they have different perceptions. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
it created their own reality.
Right.
So that's why self-development and finding a spiritual practice is so powerful, because it opens you up to all of this. You start getting the
Right.
whole perspective.
Right. Starting by loving yourself, right, and working on personal development and things like that, that kind of led you down the path of Reiki, right? And we've discussed a little bit about Dr. Dispenza, and I'd like to transition a little bit, from Reiki and into meditation. I mean, is there something that correlates
Hey,
with Reiki and meditation?
yeah. Oh my God.
Sure.
I'm gonna lock them up next time.
You're good, man. You're good.
Repeat the question. I got.
Yeah. No problem. So we're just talking about Reiki, and we're talking about how that sort of also applied to, or how it connects to meditation, right?
Yeah.
Would you say that it's a similar practice type of thing?
Um, is my boy Zeus. No. But when I do Reiki sessions, I am in a state of meditation
hmm
because I'm not physically with them. All of
hmm
my sessions are done remotely because all my
Oh.
clients are in other cities, states, or countries.
hmm
Same with my students. Um, but no, meditation is it's a spiritual practice where it connects you to yourself, to your higher self, to God, to Source, to your spirit guides, to angels.
hmm
So and it's something that I do once or twice a day, just on my own.
hmm
Uh, I like to do it first thing in the morning
Okay.
after I let out my dogs. Um, it helps me prepare for the day. It helps me get focused because I have a lot of things that I have to do,
hmm
and it gets me centered. It gets my mindset right, and
Right.
it's a great stress reliever.
Right. Gotcha. All right. So you said you meditate a couple of times a day?
Right?
You said you meditate a couple of times a day?
Yep.
Okay.
Um, yeah. It just brings me back to me, and
hmm
it I have to be centered in everything that I do because I work with a lot of clients
hmm
um, all over the world. So I have to keep my mind at and myself completely focused and relaxed at all times.
Gotcha.
But
Okay.
it's a great way to raise your frequency, your energy vibration.
Reiki or meditation or both?
Meditation, Reiki
Okay.
as well. Reiki is a very powerful spiritual practice. Um, it it's it opens you up energetically. It raises your vibration, and it also enhances your psychic abilities.
Hmm.
So with each attunement, um, I was opened a lot more psychically. My empathy abilities increased. My third eye was open, so I was getting like clear visions of things. My dreams became stronger. I was getting messages from the spirit world. I also do readings for people. Um, just from pictures, I can gain so much information. It's just a knowing that I get um, about people, their life, things they've experienced,
hmm
their current state of mind.
hmm
Uh, People are just completely they're blown away by it. I am too. It's very powerful. I've had a lot of attunements. I'm a master in eight Reiki modalities. I also have other energy attunements as well, and they help me become more connected to source
hmm
and the universal consciousness.
Okay. So earlier, so you're a Reiki master, and earlier we had someone was asking some questions more about that, about
Yeah.
kind of what it is. We've kind of talked about what it was. I mean, if somebody wants to go down that path and explore more about Reiki, what would you suggest to them?
Um, if they I mean, if they haven't experienced a Reiki session before, I would suggest they have that done. Just experience what it is
Mm-hmm.
and what the Reiki energies feel like. If they want to get into learning about it, and because it's also a self healing practice as well, you can use it on yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So if they want to become, if they want to learn about it, become attuned to the energies, I'd be happy to work with them. I created a course. It's a master certification course. They can either just use it for themselves or and other people, or they can teach it as well. So I'm a master teacher, so I can heal and teach people
Okay.
and attune people to the Reiki energies.
Okay. So if someone wanted to find out more about the Reiki course that you teach, what's the best way for them to reach out to you?
Um, they can send me a message on my profile under Gary Kerschke. Um, the course right now it's at an introductory price.
Mm-hmm.
It's a 3 month course. It's designed for 3 months. You get one-on-one sessions with me every single day, every single week. It's a video chat, live chat, and just go over trainings. I teach them how to use the Reiki energies, how to invoke them, and they have unlimited access to me. They can call me, they can text me, they can message me every single day about questions. And they also get 3 free healings per session. You get healing when you sign up, and then 3 for each level. And you get free Reiki ebooks that I bought or have downloaded from the internet to help them along the journey and just to teach them different ways on how to use Reiki with crystals, objects, and things like that. So,
Gotcha. All right. So now you mentioned earlier that you were able to um, do Reiki. Can you do it remotely? Is that what you said
yeah,
earlier?
yeah, I do it remotely. It was first taught traditional way is in person, hands on,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and but there was you can do it remotely now because with Reiki, it's not bound by time, space, or distance. So you can
Mm-hmm.
send Reiki to anywhere in the world,
Mm-hmm.
whether right here in person, across the room, or in another state or country.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And so you do remote Reiki sessions, is that correct?
Yes.
Very
Yep. Everything
interesting.
that I do is remotely. I don't have a studio. If people live locally that want to come to me for a Reiki session, that's fine. I'll do that as well. But everything has been done in my own home and you know throughout the world. So it's very powerful, and I find it very effective. I've worked on people um, hands on and all that, but I really love doing it remotely. It's a very cool experience because I'm able to get like into like a trance like state,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm able to pick up on things, see things
Mm-hmm.
going on with them, feel things, and I'm
Mm-hmm.
actually connected there psychically with them. My clients and students, they say they feel me with them in their home with my hands on them,
Mm-hmm. Hmm.
and it's very powerful. And I mean, because I do tune in to my clients
Mm-hmm.
psychically, so I am there with them. I can see
Huh.
myself there. I can see them there.
Huh.
So
Interesting. Okay, so that kind of brings me up to the quantum field. Dr. Dispenza talks about a lot about the quantum, right? Quantum physics, where there's basically we're breaching the space-time continuum, and like time is kind of doesn't really exist, and or space, and we can kind of go from one place to the next where all possibilities exist. One goal that I've kind of stumbled into with trying to learn to meditate and be more effective in my meditations is trying to tie into that quantum field, right? Can you tell me a little bit about that and what that looks like for you in your meditations?
meditation was very difficult for me for me to learn. It was like it took me like a few years.
Hmm.
Um, finally, and I still have trouble with it sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Because I my mind races probably like 1,000 miles an hour sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
So it's hard for me to just sit down, close my eyes, and just relax and just think of nothing, feel nothing, and so it's when I'm able to, it takes me to I mean like other another dimension.
Mm-hmm.
I get messages. I see divine beings. It's a complete out of body experience.
Hmm.
It's very powerful because not only does it's a healing practice, but
Mm-hmm.
it helps you on in your path in life.
Mm-hmm.
It it's almost unexplainable. It's I've been guided to what I do because of meditation. Um, it just opened me so much to the quantum world, to divine and spiritual beings, where it I'm they guide me to where I'm supposed to go in life. So, and it's a very powerful practice that people need to. I I feel that they should develop this type of spiritual practice because it's going to change their lives
Mm-hmm.
mentally, physically, emotionally, and spiritually. It is
Mm-hmm.
very powerful, and so many of us are just so disconnected to ourselves and to our higher selves and to source consciousness, and that's why they have all these issues. They don't know what they're doing in life. They feel stuck. They're lost. It's because they're so disconnected.
Mm-hmm.
So we have
Right.
to start connecting to ourselves and to our higher selves and our spirit guides and to God.
Mm-hmm. In an odd way, what meditation is supposed to do, from my understanding, is actually you disassociate yourself from all of your attachments and all the things that you know is your reality. And when you disconnect from that reality, then you're actually able to find the true nature of yourself. Would you agree with that?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And it's I used to suffer from depression, anxiety, quite it was pretty bad. Um, and it's I would say it's pretty much healed it.
Hmm.
Uh, I've I'm much happier. I live life with passion, compassion, love. I'm excited for life because of what I do, and because I've done so much work on myself that I know who I am. I know my path in life. It's because of the self healing, meditations, and Reiki, and helping others. Helping
Right.
others is huge.
Yeah, I mean that's what it's all about, right? I mean, if we're talking about love, sometimes we think we love other people or other things, but if we're just loving them, from a selfish perspective, it's not
Yeah,
really love, right? And
I mean, to a certain degree, it is, but it's
to a
not the.
degree.
Yeah, it's not the true. It's not true love.
Hmm.
Type of love, but it's not true love.
Right. The unconditional love, right? Yeah. Okay, so you said you meditate about twice a day. How long? What's a meditation session look like for you?
About 30, 40 minutes.
Okay.
But even sometimes, within 10, 15 minutes, I fall asleep or I find myself falling asleep. But but yeah, I like to stick around like 30, 40 minutes.
Hmm. Okay.
Um, they say, a minute per how old you are, but
Oh.
a good, 30, 40 minutes is
Hmm.
sufficient.
Okay.
Um,
A minute for how old you are. That's something I haven't heard before. That's interesting.
yeah, but some people, they can do it for hours at a time,
Hmm.
but hey, do you? If you
Right.
have the
Right.
time, then do it.
Yeah. I
But
mean, it's still something I'm trying to learn, and myself. I mean, I personally am trying to shoot for about 2 30-minute sessions a day, one in the AM, one in the PM, kind of thing. Um, um, so far, it seems like it's benefiting me in my life, helping me, kind of change who I am and uh, approach life from a calmer perspective. I think, that's which is pretty beneficial.
yes, absolutely.
Um, yeah. So, okay. So Reiki, and how long did it take you to become a Reiki master? What does that look like? How do you do that?
I did it in 6 weeks. I could take
Okay.
people longer. It really
Hmm.
depends on. I've seen people take it like a year.
Okay.
Um, but my Reiki master became my best friend. He's like a brother to me.
Hmm.
Uh, yeah, we just, yeah, it was. I was a Reiki master in 6 weeks. So, and
Gotcha.
we did it in person.
Hmm.
We done in person or remotely, and he just taught me everything I needed to know.
Gotcha.
So, the Reiki energies, how to use everything, how to live the Reiki way, because there's certain principles that Reiki principles that we're supposed to live by, that helps us stay connected to source, staying within ourselves, staying humble, being honest. Um, so it's being Reiki and doing Reiki all the time.
Gotcha. So it's a way of life more than just a
Yeah.
practice.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's a way of life.
So as you know, as I'm studying all this different stuff, and I'm studying meditations and studying a lot of Dr. Dispenza's work, he talks about the I guess 8 different chakras. Does Reiki get into the chakras and the energy centers?
Yes, and chakras isn't um, isn't a Japanese. It's not taught in the Japanese tradition.
Got it.
It's Indian. It's Indian based
Got
tradition.
it. Okay.
So there's 7. You got your root, your sacral, your solar plexus, your heart, throat, third eye, and the crown chakra. Well,
Got
you
it.
have 8, but the 8 is it's
It's
like
it's above the head, right? Yeah, like
yeah,
it's
it's like
16 inches above the head. Yeah.
yeah, it's like your connection to your higher self, to source.
Okay. So is Reiki tapping into that type of life energy, the different energy centers in the body? Is that part of what you're doing with Reiki?
Yes, absolutely. It does. This Bear, it's my boy Bear. He likes his attention. Um, it opens up your chakras, it cleans them out, and it balances them. There's a lot of
Hmm.
people have imbalanced chakras, and it causes different imbalances in your behavior, motivation, and things like that.
Hmm.
So it does open, clean, and balance your chakras as well.
Got it.
And my
Yeah.
feel so much better, so much at peace, so much more aligned after a session.
Hmm. So I was reading about that in Dispenza's book the other day about and I guess he's maybe coming at it from a more of the Indian tradition than the Japanese tradition, but um, I guess the primary 3 chakras would be more basic, right? Like sex, food, and pride, competition, sort of thing. And then the other 5 would deal more with like a higher being, right? Or so the first 3 are kind of selfish, and the other 3, or sorry, the other 5 are kind of like benevolent towards other people and the world. Would you agree with that?
Oh yes, absolutely.
Okay, so there's such a thing, from what I understand, is the energy gets stuck in these different chakras, and is Reiki something that can help get that unstuck?
Yes, yes, it can. And with the symbols and energies that I'm attuned to, I can get to the root causes of them, and it release the energy and bring it to surface. And and my clients will have they can experience a certain type of pain, emotional
Hmm.
pain. They'll start crying, and it just emotions and the traumas coming to surface to be released,
Hmm.
because they have to be released somehow, and
Right.
experience that emotion, and
Hmm.
releasing it through the tears, it releases those energies.
Got it. It's pretty amazing, and I don't, well, we alluded to Western medicine a little bit earlier. Western medicine even does understand that there's a connection between the mind and physical healing, right? I mean, we give pills for everything, but they also give placebos as well, right? And it's very well documented that if you give people a pill, a sugar pill or whatever it is, um, people get healed from it, right? And it has nothing to do with the chemical or the treatment or anything other than their own minds, which is releasing some sort of energy, right? Some sort of energetic healing. So if that's true, and Western medicine, acknowledges the fact that we can heal ourselves through um, our minds or our thoughts or our beliefs, right? I mean there are a lot of religions that believe in healing through faith healings and things like that, right?
Yeah, yeah.
um
And what's crazy about that, the placebo effect, is that they did a few studies on this, and with surgeries.
Mm-hmm.
They did like heart surgery on someone, or they were, and like a knee surgery. But all they did was cut. They just did a cut, an incision, and stitch it back up. And so they thought they had the surgery. They thought that their body, that they were healed now, they were fixed. And just by knowing that, feeling that, they were healed. Like their body healed itself because on what you thought happened. So
Isn't that nuts, man?
yeah, it's crazy.
It's
It's so
so
crazy.
crazy. It's so crazy. I mean, I'm just so fascinated by, I mean, this whole show that I'm doing, like, I want to help people change their lives, but I kind of want for people to be able to be empowered by the fact that they have way more control over their lives than what they think. And I like to try and keep emphasizing the fact that our thoughts are real and our thoughts are things and our words are the substance that we build our lives around, right? And I really do believe. I mean, I guess I've always believed it, but more lately, I just feel like we do have the opportunity to totally create our own reality.
Oh yeah, we do. I mean, people are experiencing their own realities based on their beliefs. We create our own realities based on our perceptions and beliefs of things. So
They say whether you think you can or you cannot, you're right.
yeah, absolutely. We're all living in the same world, but we are experiencing different realities. So
Yeah, no doubt about it, man. I'm a huge believer, like I said, power of positive thinking. A friend of mine years ago, he's deceased now, but he wrote a great book called Hung by the Tongue. And it's just, man, we got to really watch our words. One practice that I have been really trying hard to put into practice in addition to meditation is just practicing gratitude every day, right? Just
oh
because
yeah,
the more thankful we are, the more love we're going to feel, the more positive vibes we're going to put out, and we're gonna attract that stuff back
yeah,
to ourselves.
yeah. When you practice gratitude, you're in a constant state of gratitude. You're going to receive more, because that's telling God and the universe that you appreciate what you have, no matter how little you have or how bad you're struggling. If you
Right.
appreciate where you are, what you have, you're going to get more in return.
Yep. Yeah, I love it. And I guess there's different ways to get, there's different ways to get to the same place, right? I mean, people call it different things, but I think I'm a huge believer in raising your vibration. Some people use music. I've even used music. Even before I got into meditating and really trying to dig in and make positive changes in my life, I know that, I mean, everybody knows if they're feeling down or not, right? And I would just use music a lot of times. I didn't maybe call it my vibe or my vibration, but I know if I was down, I could put on certain types of music. Sometimes you can love on your dogs and it changes your vibration, right?
They definitely do raise my vibration. Yeah, they always make me laugh. They make me happy.
That's
So
awesome, man.
yeah, they're good
So
dogs.
That's awesome. So, well, for those of you watching, if you're still there, we've been talking about 53 minutes. If you're still there, hashtag still here. If you're watching it live, hashtag live. If you're catching us on the replay, hashtag replay. I've been talking with Gary Kerschke tonight, Reiki master. We've just been kind of sharing some thoughts and ideas about how our energy levels really can help us to heal ourselves, um, our emotional wounds, which in turn often will help heal our physical wounds as well. So I do have one more question before we jump off here, Gary. And as I've been reading about Reiki, I wasn't sure when I first heard about it if it was something that you had to practice only on someone else or if you could practice it on yourself. And what I read was that it's best to learn how to practice on yourself before you practice on other people. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, and that's what I teach my students. I mean, that's what all students are taught
Mm-hmm.
um, right from the beginning. Because once once you're attuned, to, hold on a sec, Riley. Once you're once you're attuned to each level, you go through a 21-day self healing phase. which is using the new Reiki energies on yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Do like different hand placements, but I don't believe in the hand placements, but I teach it. It's in my course. It's just because I mean it's taught through every Reiki modality. Um, it's universal consciousness energy, so it flows to where it's supposed to go. So if there's a certain type of trauma in the body, depression, wherever there's trauma, emotional, physical, it's going to flow to those areas, and it's going to um, send it healing energy, and it's going to release that stagnant energy so the body can heal itself.
Got it. Love it.
And I do it. It's part of my everyday practice as
It's part
well.
of your daily routine, huh?
Yep. And I do it while I meditate. I just knock it out all at one time.
Got it.
So because
Very
it
interesting.
takes it can take 20, 30 minutes to do it. So I knock it out at one time.
Love it, man. All right. So again, Gary is both a Reiki master and also a Reiki instructor teacher. So if anyone wants to find out more about either, I guess, having a session with you or even learning how to practice themselves, just go ahead and just message Gary right here on Facebook. Is that the best way for them to contact you, Gary?
Yeah, that's I'm just only on Facebook.
Okay. All right. So go ahead and reach out if you have any interest in that, and learning a little bit more about Gary. And, Gary, I appreciate you being here tonight, man, and, helping me learn a little bit more about Reiki and, letting our listeners, learn a little bit more about what's out there, what's available for, potential emotional and physical healing all at the same time.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I thankful for being on the show with you and getting the word of Reiki out there and how energy healing can change people's lives.
All right, my man. Well, thanks again for coming on, and we'll catch up again soon, man. You have a great rest of your evening, okay?
Yeah, thanks, man.
All
Sorry
right,
about the
thanks,
dog.
man.
They're a little
Y'all
crazy,
take
man.
care. All right, no worries at all. Y'all take care.
All right, buddy. You too.